welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
And I am Stacey Earlywine, and we have our favorite shows to do.
Yes.
Old houses.
We always love to talk about old houses, and today's Old House Day.
It is Old
Yay!
House Day. I wonder if we're the only people that get excited about that.
Nope, I think our viewers do too.
I think they do too.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to live in them all.
I do too. Every time I go in one, I'm like, this is the one for me.
Exactly. And now the other thing is every time I go home, hey, Jim, we did this. No.
No.
Yeah, because if anybody should be living in old houses, it's me and you.
I know. Well, your house is kind of old.
Well, it is old. It is.
I mean, it's built in the 30s?
Yeah, it's old. I love my house. It's got good character to it.
It does. Your house is full of charm.
It's full of charm.
My house was built in the 1960s, and it is not full of charm. But it is paid for.
That's right. Mine is.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
well,
I don't really want to move.
Yeah, I love the front. My house is like two different houses on the front, and then there's the back part that was built in the 70s. But like you drive around the front and it looks like a Cape Cod. You drive around the back and it looks like a beach house.
Yeah.
Which was my whole entire, because I told Jim, if I can't afford a beach house, I want my backyard to look like one.
Exactly. Why not? Why wouldn't you? You deserve a beach house look.
I do deserve a beach house.
Mm-hmm.
I need to win the lottery.
Yes.
But I keep forgetting if I win the lottery, I'm buying Sailor Springs.
Oh, right. But
Yeah,
you
remember?
can still have a beach house, too.
I can have a beach house and then buy Sailor Springs and put my campground in.
You can build your beach house on Lake Green. What was that lake? Greenlaw, Green something they had up there?
I think so.
Sailor Springs
Yeah.
Lake. We have to buy that, too.
Yeah, we have to put the lake back in. So, guys, what's going on now? Anything fun happening in your world?
In my world, gosh, nothing really fun. It's just, getting ready for all of the fun events in September that are coming up.
Oh, let's talk about some of those.
So,
we do have
Shadows of Elmwood, which is Stacey and I's one of our very
Yep.
favorite events of the year. That's near and dear to our hearts. The cemetery tour. A lot of people refer to it as that. September the 8th and the 9th this year. It always starts at the depot in Flora, and you get on a hay wagon, straw, bales, whatever, and drive through the cemetery to hear the stories. Not as scary.
It's not scary.
Not haunted. It's historical. You hear a short little skit presented in first person as if that person is standing there talking to you about their life.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Very similar to what Stacey and I do here, where we talk about history.
It is fantastic.
But it's in first person, and they're dressed as the person.
Yeah, it's like
tell you
little
about their life.
skits, and it's got the costume and stuff. I'm excited about it. We can't say what we're doing.
Well, it's all top secret.
It's all top secret. Boop, but I'm excited about
I wrote our skit. Stacey and I will tell them a little clue.
Yeah.
Stacey and I are in the same skit this year.
Yes, it never has happened before,
No, this is the first year, and this is like, what, our 10th year? Or
Probably.
9th or 10th year
10,
doing
I don't know.
And we've never been in the same skit. Probably because we're both so awesome, they can't put all of the talent together now, can they?
That's exactly what it is. It is. It's like, we must separate the talent.
No, but seriously, we are together this year,
it is fun.
and I wrote the skit, and it's going to
The
be...
costume's great.
Oh,
it's my
yeah.
favorite costume I've ever going to do.
Yeah.
I'm just super pumped about it.
I'm super pumped about it, too. So anyway, that's September the 8th and the 9th.
And
That's going on.
Ford Town?
Ford Town, USA is the following weekend, which is what, the 16th, 17th?
Something like that. And
Something
then
like that.
Saturday night after Fort Town, we're doing a sock hop at the theater, at Nostalgia Theater, a.k.a. the Town Theater. We're going to do a fun sock hop, and that'll be fun. So get out your dust off your poodle skirt.
Yeah.
I need to find somebody.
What does that one song go? Put on your Bobby Socks, baby.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
I want to bop with you, baby, all night long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So let's go ahead, because we got a couple. We got 2 or 3. We got some good
Yeah, we got a
houses.
lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk
So
about.
let's talk about our ad first. Do we have one today?
We do have an ad today. Ty, did you get that to work?
Okay.
Yes, he did, and it's a kind of a weird ad.
Oh,
Okay.
I love the weird ones.
Okay, so it comes from the Journal of Lifetime Living. This is 1959. It's a really neat little book. I ended up getting, I don't know, I'd zoom in on that, hon. I ended up getting it at an auction or finding it somewhere in all my little band of books.
Oh, yeah, we've looked at this one
We
before.
have looked at it. It's got the funnest little sayings and stuff.
Okay.
But this ad I thought was really, really cool. So let's go ahead and throw it up there. Okay. Because my nerves were troubling me, my doctor started me on Postum.
Postum is 100% coffee
Coffee-free.
Right? Let me
So-
read it. Nowadays, most everything seems to be caused by nerves. But what causes the nerves? That's what I asked when I started getting jumpy and irritable. One answer I learned from my doctor: too much coffee. He explained that some people just can't always take the caffeine in coffee. It irritates their nervous systems. He suggested I start drinking Postum because it is caffeine-free, safe enough for a baby to drink. I followed his advice, doubtfully at first, but now I'm convinced. My nerves have disappeared. Why don't you try rich, hearty Postum? You'll like it too.
So what's
in it?
What's in Postum? And how come we don't ever hear about Postum anymore?
Yeah.
It is off the market, apparently.
Well, a little bit of...
But it must be like coffee, because look, she's sitting there so sweet with her little girl.
Yeah,
little girl probably drew Mommy a picture, and she's drinking it like it would be coffee. That's like
Yeah.
hot water.
Yeah, no, they just...
What would that be?
No caffeine, just a little bit of, cocaine, or maybe it was... I don't know what
Ty's
else.
looking it up right now.
Yeah.
But serious, instant, anything instant, coffee, instant tea, I don't really like.
No, I don't
instant
either.
Postum. Wow, what is that?
Yeah.
But anyway, apparently it took Mom's jittery and her irritability away. I need to find some Postum.
Yeah, I can't read there what you've got, Ty.
It's just decaf coffee.
Oh, just
Decaf coffee.
decaffeinated coffee.
Now, what's that? That's not common, no nerves.
Yeah, so it shouldn't say Postum is 100% coffee free. It should say Postum is 100% caffeine free.
Right.
It's still coffee. It's just decaffeinated. They
Yeah.
do look happy.
They do look happy, but so are they associating? I mean, it's 1959.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I thought it was interesting.
It's made from roasted wheat bran.
Roasted wheat bran is the main ingredient.
And molasses.
And molasses. So maybe not necessarily coffee then. Molasses and roasted wheat bran. I'm going to take a hard pass on that and say I'll take my, soda.
I'm gonna take a hard pass on that and keep
Or-
driving through the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So that's interesting. But
Yeah.
we're covering a couple of houses.
Yes,
We are. And it's we got some fun pictures.
Okay. You want to go first?
Sure. I'll go first.
Okay. Tell me about your house.
I am going
you're
to
talking
discuss it's called the Simpson house.
Okay.
Okay. And the house is on 4th Street in Flora. Mm-hmm. It was known first as the Byers house.
Okay.
Harry O. Byers, not O. Byers, Harry O. Byers.
His middle initial was O.
O. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
H.O. Byers.
H.O. Wow. He shouldn't be going by Harry.
No.
Because they don't do that back then. He had purchased the lot from Emma Rogers in 1907 and commissioned the building of one of the finest houses in Flora. So, Ty, can you put that first? So, this is the house we're talking about. Okay, the Harry O. Byers house, later known as the Simpson house, built in 1901. It's a little
1908.
I'm sorry, 1908. Yeah, I can't read like you do far away.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll correct you anytime.
There you go. So let's just leave that picture up. Okay. So yeah. So you would recognize it. It is still around. But the front porch is. But I don't want to show the picture of the front porch screened in or blocked in right now. But this is the original house built in 1908. And it's funny because it looks a lot bigger there than what it does if you drive by it today.
Yes.
Maybe it's because other houses are sitting
And that's
close to
exactly what I was going to say. If you drive by this house today, there are neighbors that are fairly close, so you don't get this view of it all the way to the back. You drive by and you basically see only the front of the house.
Yeah.
And I think that it seems smaller now because of the neighbors' houses.
I think you're right. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, so Mr. Byers after he built the home, he only lived there for a couple of years. And then he sold the home to Frank H. Simpson. Okay?
Okay.
Let's show a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Simpson. Let's put them up there while I tell their story. Okay? Mr. Simpson came to Flora from Vincennes, Indiana around 1900. And he managed the Ebner Ice and Cold Storage Plant until 1913. Now, we covered that.
Yes, we
ice
had an
plant.
episode on the ice plant.
Yes. It was Ebner's that Frank would become interested in the fruit distribution business.
Yes.
Okay? You may recall at an earlier time a writing about Ebner storing apples at their facility until they were shipped to various customers. So we have Mr. Abner, or Mr. Simpson. He comes from Vincennes, Indiana. He's working for the Ebner Ice Storage, and now he's storing fruit because we all know Flora was called, Clay County was what?
The orchard
capital of the world.
The whole entire world.
The
Not
whole
United
entire
States.
world.
The world.
This is what's interesting about Mr. Simpson, okay? So they were shipped to various customers. Mr. Simpson became known all over the United States for his work with the fruit growers and the industry connected there within. For more than 40 years, he operated and managed the Frank H. Simpson Fruit Growers Distribution Company, seeing it grow into one of the largest and most successful businesses of its kind in the world.
Yeah, the Simpson Fruit Company. And, and his office was above where Wiley Realty is now.
Yes. Isn't that fascinating?
Marianne Ayers' dad worked for him. He was the accountant, I believe. But go ahead.
Wow, isn't that, I think, find it fascinating. Okay, so we're going to continue on just for a couple more paragraphs before we take a commercial break. Frank and his wife Pearl, that's his wife Pearl right there, were very fond of traveling abroad and would participate in at least 2 world tours, the last one being in 1939. A letter from...
Fruit business was good.
Fruit business must have been good.
Yeah.
They're traveling the world on this business.
Yeah, they're going around the world twice a year.
Yes.
And they are collecting antiques
As they go.
from all over the world.
A letter from Cunard White Star Limited was found confirming their world tour on the Franconia, which was to begin in January of 1939 and end in June of that year at a cost of $2,537.50. Now, we're talking into the 1930s. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
And I bet they're the kind of people that went first class.
Oh,
had a first class cabin.
Absolutely.
They weren't down there in the bottom of the belly of the ship.
Yeah, these people, like, had they been on the Titanic, would have been the rich ones that got on the first boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had.
When did they start traveling?
I don't get it. It just says we're very fond of traveling abroad, would participate. Their last one was in 1939.
Okay.
So, but we're going to kind of take a commercial break here in a little bit. But yeah, we are going to be coming back with the Simpson house. And when we get back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about them. Then we'll talk about the interior of the house when we get back.
Okay.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Lumber, doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas,
What?
you better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
And all of. Hello and welcome back. We weren't quite ready. We are still talking about Pearl Simpson because there's like 2 different Pearl Simpsons. One died young.
Yes.
Well, and one didn't. And I believe we're talking about the one that didn't because obviously she was older than 25.
But how weird is it that we found Frank and Pearl Simpson that are buried at Elmwood? Mm-hmm. And then this
but it's
Frank
not the
and Pearl
right
Simpson are how many Frank and Pearl Simpsons can there be?
Well, there's more than 2 probably, but
that live in Flora.
I don't know, but there are Frank and Pearl Simpson that are buried in Flora at Elmwood Cemetery.
But it's not.
But it is not the same Pearl and Frank Simpson that we are discussing. The dates are a little off, and the children are not the correct children.
I think it's. That's blowing my mind. Could you imagine if there were 2 Jim and Stacey Earlywines?
Maybe this is his dad. Maybe this Frank Simpson. What if this Frank Simpson was? I'll have to look that up. See if he had a son named Frank.
Yeah.
And then he also married a Pearl.
It just mentions that they give the house. Well, let me keep going.
Keep telling us about the house.
Oh my gosh, here we go. We get so excited. Invoices were also found for the purchase of their new tours, such as, listen to this, Persian carpets from Bombay, a gold chest from Hong Kong, beaded necklace from South Africa, set of table linens from China, silk dress from Colombo.
Columbia, probably.
Yeah, it must be. It just says Colombo, but it must be something. Black wood chairs and tables from Bombay, white rabbit cape from Hong Kong, linen lace luncheon set from Singapore, and 3 suits of clothes for Mr. Simpson from Bombay.
Wow. So he was a very well-dressed man, and they had a very nice home full of beautiful antiques from their travels all over the world.
Yeah. In 1947, Mr. Simpson retired from active participation in his company and soon after resigned his partnership, turning over his interest to his son-in-law, Arthur Holt. Dun, dun, dun. So we got some more information. This came with the stipulation that the company maintain its original name, the Frank H. Simpson Company. This was carried out as requested. Mr. Simpson died in 1950 at the age of 79, and his wife Pearl died in 1959. But let's go back. Now let's show some photos of the inside of the house. So this is the inside of the home. The dining room featuring one of the original hot water radiators, that was typical. My friend Chris Roopson lives in a home like that, and she still has the radiator heat. So let's see. That's the dining room. Let's look at another. And this is the beautiful staircase. And what's beautiful about the staircase is it still has the stained glass windows in it.
Yeah, beautiful.
They're still absolutely beautiful. So it says, inside can be found a beautiful woodworking and a grand stairway of golden oak. When peering at the open staircase, one's eyes are drawn to the beautiful stained glass window in the shades of blue and red. The lower landing, in looking at the photo, one can see windows at the upper landing which look out over the east lawn. Wow.
Wow, beautiful.
In one small room off the dining area, one can faintly see the remains of a dumb waiter, a small elevator used to send food and the like to the upper floor, and perhaps to the basement. Now, why do you need to send food to the basement? One of the later owners said he believed the room the apparatus was in was once the servants' quarters and later removed.
Ah.
How interesting is that?
Yeah, cool.
It says there are stately pocket doors, stand guard between the dining and living rooms, only awaiting an opportunity to show themselves when called upon to spring forth from their enclosure deep in the walls. Yeah. So we're done with the pictures now, Ty. But it says, although changes have occurred over the years with various owners, most of the charm and fascination is still very evident. The front, like I said, the front porch area was once open, but now it is enclosed. The Simpsons passed on in 50 and 59. Ownership of the house went to their only child, Doris, who would sell it to Earl Vaughn around 1962, and he in turn would sell it to Mr. and Mrs. J.D. McGehee in 71. 3 more owners would stake their claim to this prestigious building before, and then another owners were John Coing, Rodney Goodrich, and Mr. and Mrs. J. Jackson. I remember when they lived there. The Jacksons lived there. And then I also remember when Scott and Sean Hagensiker lived in it, and they kept restoring it. So
that's who sold it to. Now it is owned by
Mr. McNeely.
Yeah, McNeely. Bobby and Tracy McNeely.
They live in it too. The beauty of this house is that every owner appreciated what they had, and they still have kept it in. So if you think about the ownership it's had a lot of owners, but I love the fact that nobody jacked it up.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
I love that. It is absolutely.
Tracy McNeely is a friend of mine, and I've been in the home, and it is gorgeous. The staircase still beautiful. I mean, the woodwork, the stained glass, everything. It is a gorgeous home.
It is. It's absolutely stunning. I do believe that there used to be a quarters behind the house, but I believe that you can go around the back. There's maybe a garage back there.
Yeah.
And then there is a beautiful back deck that updating some things to make it modern and convenient for us. But I love the fact that these people that have lived in this house have kept it to its beautifulness.
Oh yeah.
God bless you all for keeping this wonderful,
beautiful
historic home.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. So, is that all? Well, you want to hear about the house I'm going to talk about?
Let's start on yours because you're kind of doing a couple, right?
Yeah, I kind of am. So I'm talking about
a little time here. So go ahead.
I'm talking about the Pixley family. Okay. So I'm just going to start at the beginning with the Pixleys, and we're going to talk about William Pixley. He was an Englishman, lived in England, and he took the oath of allegiance to England in 1678. So we're going way back to William. 1678. His wife's name was Sarah Lawrence Pixley, and they lived in Hereford County, England, and they had 5 children, only 5. But it is believed that all of the Pixleys in the whole United States of America can all be traced back to this one family.
Really?
Okay. So if you know anyone with the last name Pixley, this is their lineage. There's not any others. So fast forward 4 generations, okay, and there's an Asa Pixley that was born in Vermont in 1805. So this is the first of the American Pixleys. He came to Edwards County, Illinois, which is Albion area, and he married a woman named Amanda Ingraham. Okay, so Ingraham.
Okay.
Keep that in your mind.
I'm keeping Ingraham
Amanda
in my mind.
Ingraham. Okay, she was also English, but she was living in Edwards County as well. And she was born in 1806. So they lived out their lives in Edwards County. He died in 1883. She died in 1844. So she really wasn't very old when she passed. But they did have children. And one of their oldest sons, his name was Osmond Pixley. He was the oldest son of Asa and Amanda. And he was born in 1828 in Edwards County. And then he married a woman named Frances, but they moved away and they moved to Clay County. So that is how the Pixleys came to Clay County, okay?
Nice.
And so he decided to move to Ingraham. And I wonder, did he just ended up in Ingraham and he liked it and it was like, oh yeah, that's my mom's maiden name? Or did he look around and try to decide on towns and then it's like, this one's my mother's maiden name, maybe it's a sign. Maybe that's where I should end up. I don't know.
I don't know, but that's
just me pondering because that's not really in any of my information. But anyway, so he settled in Ingraham in 1852 in the merchandise business. So he started running a store, and he ran that store for 50 years in Ingraham. Wow. And during that time, he was also postmaster. He began serving as postmaster during the term of President Franklin Pierce until the term of President Grover Cleveland. So if that gives you kind of a time frame, that was a long time ago.
Wow.
He also served in the Illinois State Legislature around 1871, and then he was also the president of the bank, the First National Bank of Flora, from 1872 to 1901. Okay, so that's Osmond. We don't know for sure where Osmond lived in Ingraham. I would be willing to guess his house is not still standing. But anyway, they had 9 children.
9 children.
But 6 of them died young.
What?
Isn't that so sad?
Oh, that is very sad.
So the only ones that survived to adulthood were DeWitt C., Harvey Franklin, and Arthur H. Okay, so Osmond died in 1903 and his wife died in 1907, but they had these 3 boys.
Wow.
Okay, so the youngest, Arthur, he never married, and he lived almost his entire life in Chicago. So he left, and then he ended up dying in Pasadena, California. So he went for the city life. Grew up in Little Ingraham, left for the big city. Do we need to take a commercial break?
Not yet. I'm watching your time.
Okay.
You just keep going. I'll tell you when we're stopping.
All right. And then the middle son, Harvey, is the one that we're going to talk about. Because Harvey Franklin Pixley, he got married in 1891 to Caroline Sissel. They called her Callie. She was the daughter of John and Jemima Kesson Kissel. But...
What?
Jemima, I don't know, Kesson Kissel. Maybe they said it's Sissel. I don't know. But she also had an interesting history. So they could trace her descent back from a Robert Kissel, or Sissel, I'm not sure how to say it, the first Earl of Salisbury, whose descendants were among the very first English settlers to come to America. So they ended up in Maryland and then moved here. But so they're both of these families are from really, really early settlers and solid English stock. Like they're very English. Okay.
I love it.
So around 1800, the Sissel family migrated to kind of near Illinois, Ingraham. Okay. But they settled actually near Allendale, which is on the Big Wabash River. So that's, I think, closer to like New Harmony, Indiana, that area. And they built a fort over there, which was big enough to accommodate 100 families. And that is where the first white child born in Wabash County was born. Anyway, so that is how her family got its start. But anyway, Harvey and his wife lived in Ingraham until about 1900, and that is when he built this house that I'm going to show you. It is a Queen Anne.
Oh, it's
and he built it. My notes say 1893. The current owner I talked to thought maybe it was 1896.
So
but
the home in Ingraham was built prior to the one that we're going to show in Flora.
Yes. So let's look at Pixley number 1.
Let's not.
We're going to
take a commercial break.
Oh, we'll leave you in suspense.
We're going to leave them in suspense.
All right. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you could be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to, by the way, Stacey keeps making me laugh right before it's time to get back on air. Okay, so let me finish my story.
Okay, I'm excited.
We're talking about the Pixley family and this beautiful Queen Anne Victorian home that they built in Ingraham, Illinois, which is northern Clay County for those of you that aren't from here. It's about probably, 15 to 20 miles away from Flora?
Yep.
The northern part of our county.
So
okay, so let's see a picture, if you would, please, Ty. This home, here we go. This is the, this picture was taken, I think they might have said in the 20s. I don't remember exactly, but this is very early in the history of this home. This is the Pixley home in Ingraham. I love the white picket fence.
I just was on my tip of my tongue. I love the picket fence.
Yes, I love the big porch and the big wide steps that go directly up to the main entrance.
What color do you think it was?
White.
Do you think it was white? It wasn't painted?
No, I think it has been white all along. Yeah.
It is gorgeous.
So that is the beautiful Pixley house in Ingraham. So,
hey Beth, can I say something?
Yeah.
Whenever you and I really get old, can we find a nursing home that's an old Victorian house and me and you live in it together?
We should probably buy an old Victorian house right now and turn it into a nursing home so that we can ensure that there is one whenever we're ready for it.
Okay, just because you and I really would have you know how much fun we would have just sitting when we're old, sitting in a rocking chair talking about.
We'll have to install an elevator into whatever it is because we'll be so old and feeble we won't be able to go up and down all the stairs. That's why all the people move out of them is because of the stairs. Oh. Okay, so let's keep talking about it. So this house built again around 1893 to 1896. It's been owned since then by Garland and Sue Mervyn. And then an Anderson Bryant, he bought it in 1928. And Leslie Bryant, the son of Anderson Bryant, and his wife Eliza Bryant bought the house after her parents' deaths. And then she sold it to Larry and Lucille Waddles in 1997. They were known, they had a lot of horses there, and they bred dogs, hunting dogs. They were well known for that.
I remember that family's name.
Family, Mr. Robert Siegel and his wife, I believe, live there now. But it's still standing. It is still beautiful. But the weird thing is that Harvey, that built the house, he only lived there till 1900. So if he started the house in 1893...
Yeah.
Or in some reports, it's 1896. He only lived there for a few years before he moved away again.
Yeah, because I wonder what happened to Mr. Byers.
Yeah.
What happened? He builds this beautiful home, and then he's only there 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But, okay, before we move on to what happened to the Pixleys after this house, let's look at a picture of how this house looks today.
Oh, and it's...
Yes, isn't that beautiful? This was taken just this past...
Boy, they love their yard.
Yes, this home is very well kept. And what I'm not showing is there is still a picket fence closer to the road, I believe. I think there was a white picket fence. And the gingerbread trim on this house is gorgeous. I also went to the back door and... Did
they know you were coming?
No. It was one of those knock, 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 anybody home kind of things. But their back entrance is just as beautiful. The whole home just is so peaceful out there. The birds were singing. There was wind chimes on the porch. There was absolutely no traffic because you're in Ingraham. And there's just not very many people that live there, but it was so peaceful. And they had a beautiful barn, and they had all these beautiful kitty cats running around. You know, I love cats, and it was just a really relaxing, beautiful setting.
Could you imagine?
So once again, I walk up to this house
there and just walking out and sitting on that little.
Yes, I'm like, yep, I could totally live here.
I could totally live there.
Yeah, I think I have another picture that they sent me. Yeah, this is the interior foyer of the house, how it looks today with the wood stove there, and this is the original staircase, and you can see the original woodwork, and this wallpaper that is on the walls was imported during the renovation. I believe the Bryants were the ones that put a lot of renovating work into this home, and they imported this special wallpaper from overseas.
There's got to be hardwood floors underneath that carpet
to match.
I wonder if it's still. Oh, who sent the people that live there now sent this?
Yes,
I wonder if there's
Robert Siegel.
Yeah, I wonder if there's hardwood floors underneath.
And I want to thank him if he's watching this, because I did this on short notice. I had procrastinated a little bit and not got all my research done. Kind of put him on the spot for some information, and he came through. So thank you for that.
I think it's really fun when we just go knock on people's doors.
Yeah, we do, but they're probably like, well, I wish you would have given me more notice.
Did you say I'm Beth Cooper with By the Way with Beth and Stacey?
Yes, he had never heard of us.
What? Did you tell him to get Wabash?
I told him where to find it. So.
Okay.
But he did say that he has a lot of records on this house, and he has all of the information. And he thinks in his records it says that this house cost approximately $9,000 to build.
Ooh,
which would be a lot because a lot
pricier.
Because a lot of the
big Vincent's was only $3,000.
Yeah,
$3,000.
Yeah, he may check on that because that is a lot more. We'll see. I don't know, but okay. So let's continue our story with the Pixleys.
Yes, let's keep going. So this is this group of Pixleys.
Yes. So Harvey, he had built this house in Ingraham, but only lived there for a few years, and then all of a sudden they decide to move to Flora. They decide to come to Flora around 1900. And what do? But they go to build another house.
Yeah.
So I can see, like, a lot of people still do this. They build a house and they don't have it very long, and they build another one. And I think that people that have built homes always say after you build your first home, you figure out what you didn't like that you did before, and then the second time around, you really have it down pat.
I've heard that
how
before.
you want things, and you correct a few minor details.
Wonder how long it took to build a house back then.
That's a really good question.
Because like today, by the time you get a contractor, it takes months.
Oh yeah.
But and these are grand, beautiful.
Yeah, these are people that ornately carve and specialize
how long it did take to
the
build
woodwork. How long did you go somewhere to buy that woodwork, like a lumberyard that specialized in that, or did you have somebody that came and carved it there at the home as it's being built?
Gosh, I don't know. I have a feeling that the people that built that, well, no, that was the buyers, not the Simpsons. I was going to say the Simpsons would have it all coming from China. Japan,
they would have went to Hong Kong or somewhere and got there. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that is a good question, how long it would have taken.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then they built another house. Let's take a look at Pixley number 2, please, Ty.
Oh, I love
the
this
old
home.
one. This home. Look at those porches. Oh, my lands.
We're looking at this house from,
You're facing north.
North, yeah. We're looking at it from the south side of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
because it doesn't
is the
look
south
like
side,
that.
And it's been changed over the years. So I'm going to show you another picture here in a minute.
Everybody will recognize the house.
And you'll recognize it then. But because over the course of time, things have changed, and they've enclosed some of those porches and remodeled a little bit of the porches. And but this home sits on the corner of East 7th and Sycamore. So is it East 7th? No, that wouldn't be
Sycamore.
East. It's Sycamore and East 5th.
East 5th.
Yeah,
7th
sorry.
is too
I was
far
2
out,
blocks. Yeah. It's East 5th and Sycamore. So
that gingerbread stuff is still there. The gingerbread.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful home.
And once again, there's no other homes around it.
Yeah.
I think that's why we kind of lose what they look like.
Yes.
Because there's nothing, now there's homes all over the place.
Yeah. So a lot of you may recognize this home as the home of Bill and Alice Phillips. They lived there from the early 1970s to about 2010. So this was their home. But Harvey Franklin Pixley is the man that built it. And he served as president of the First National Bank of Flora from 1910 until he retired in 1950. And remember, I was talking about his dad, Osmond Pixley. He was also the president of the board, or the bank board. So he kind of followed in his dad's footsteps, where they both were on that First National Bank board. He was also director of the Flora Mutual BL&H Association. I don't know what that is.
What is that?
Building and Loan and Home Association.
Probably.
I
bet it is. Yeah.
And the Flora Carnegie Library. So Callie Pixley preceded her husband in death in 1943. Harvey died in 1958. And both are buried in Elmwood at Flora. So if you're familiar with Clay County, you'll know that one of our townships is called Pixley Township. This is the township that Ingraham is in. And that is named in honor of Osmond Pixley, who was this Harvey's dad. He's the one that lived in Ingraham for years and years. Not the one that built the house, because Harvey built the house that we're talking about. But, so that's the Pixleys. But let's take a look at Pixley house number 2 as it looks today. So this is the house today. So many of you have driven by there and seen this home. They did enclose the upper porch that's on kind of the south side.
They built out. It's almost
yeah,
like
they
built
made
out.
it into a room maybe.
Well, from what I understand, Mr. Phillips was the art teacher at Flora. He was an art teacher that I had back in the 80s. And he was a glorious painter. That room they utilized because he painted. That's where his art studio was
that was his art studio.
So if you can just imagine Mr. Phillips, anybody that went to, he was a great, great guy. I personally didn't take many art classes, but that was where he actually painted.
Okay.
So the history there is just beautiful.
And the lower porch, they don't have the gingerbread on there anymore. That's kind of been changed a little bit and did a brick instead. But you can still see the bones of the structure and the gingerbread near the top is
now
all
we're
the
actually
same.
looking at it looking south.
Yes, now this, and I should have taken a picture at the same angle as the one I had. I didn't realize that I didn't.
That's okay.
But yeah, so this one I was standing on the north side when I took the picture. So this home is currently owned by Yang Knoll, who I did try to reach out to. I couldn't get a hold of her. Yeah, so this is the home, and this house has beautiful stained glass in it.
It does.
And that's one of the things I love about these old homes is that, no matter what, there's just always beautiful windows, beautiful stained glass, and beautiful woodwork. I mean, and that's just what our homes today are lacking. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Like new homes that are being built today. Like who can think of one single person who built a new home and put stained glass in it?
Yeah.
Or a custom staircase.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
It just doesn't
happen
happen
if you
anymore.
wanted to, it would probably be so outrageously expensive these days that nobody really does it.
Right. Yeah, it would be definitely difficult to do that. And then you think, because there's such a big difference between like the front part of my house that was built in the 30s, and then they had built on the back part of the house. They added up to the upstairs and everything built on, and it was done in the 70s. And my goodness, the craftsmanship from the 30s to the 70s is unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
A big difference. Like you can sit in the front of my house. It's not cold. When it's winter time out, it's not cold. You can't really hear cars going by. But in the back part of the house, you definitely can. Now, we've done new windows and that type of thing. And even just like the difference. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because my house is similar. My house was built onto in the 80s, in the 1980s, of course, obviously before I lived there. But the front of the house is so solid that you don't hear cars. You don't hear, if it's pouring down rain, you would never even know it unless you look outside. And my house was built in the 60s, so even later than yours. But you just wouldn't know it. It is solid as a rock. But then if you go back into the back part of the house where my bedroom is and it starts raining, you immediately know it. You can hear everything.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll continue talking about houses.
Okay.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Rural King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
You can't quit. You can't quit making me laugh right before. Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Welcome back to
By the Way with Beth and Stacey. And I don't know what's happening today.
We are so professional usually. You're making me be very unprofessional saying things like that before. Okay. So
funny.
We talked about 2 old houses. So
two glorious old houses.
Beautiful
3
homes.
almost.
Really 3 because I covered
houses.
both Pixleys, both Pixley
Yeah.
houses, one in Flora and one in Ingraham.
Beautiful homes we love.
Yes.
Going to buy. We need money.
I know.
Can somebody please float us a loan? So we can...
I don't want a loan. I have to pay it back.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to pay it back. We need just money.
Yeah, just give it to us. No questions asked.
I don't understand. We're adorable. Why
We'll use it for historical purposes.
Absolutely. We will. Absolutely, we will.
We will.
Yeah.
Okay. So
no.
let me talk. This was in the newspaper, and it was like in the late 1920s, 1930s, I believe. Let me find the date. 1927. There was an old Clay City newspaper.
Okay.
And back then, and this was common in all newspapers, Flora and everything, but the ones I have today to read are from the Clay City newspaper, but they would put in neighborhoods. So each neighborhood had their own little heading and their own information. Yeah, so like I've read old Flora ones or it's like Harder Township or Blair Township, or they have different neighborhoods, different parts of the county, but this was actually just Clay City neighborhoods. And you went in Clay City, for those that don't know, is a very small town. To me, it's basically like maybe 2 neighborhoods. You got the south end and the north end.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they had their own neighborhood. So they're under the headline of Fairview, the Fairview neighborhood. Mr. and Mrs. Z.T. Hardy took a motor trip to see Harry Hardy, who was quite ill.
Oh.
Hope it wasn't contagious, because now they just brought it back to the Fairview neighborhood.
Right.
Also, Mrs. Cal Crickman was still feeling poorly. I believe these names to be, these were maybe, they think maybe around the Bethlehem church area, but not sure. Okay, under Pleasant Dale news, we read where Dan Hamilton and his family, Mr. and Mrs. John Snouts, and Mr. and Mrs. Z.E. Thorman, and Pauline Desch all had Sunday dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Frank Toman. In the Flat Branch neighborhood, and some people may remember these names, but I was
bet
like,
they do.
This was Facebook, basically, before there
Facebook
was social media. That was all in the paper, what all you did. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times, whether you wanted it to be there or not, it was there.
You can't tell me they went around and got permission from everybody.
No, it was just in the paper. So if you were up to no good and you were trying to keep a secret, good luck to you. And this is where, like, the names, like calling somebody an old biddy or old nosy Nelly, like, these are the people that wrote the columns.
These are who's the Alice Cram, who was the, no, who was the lady that on Bewitched?
Oh, I can't think of her name.
I can't think of it.
In the Flat Branch neighborhood news, we find where Mr. and Mrs. Tot Harrison had several friends over Saturday evening to listen to their new radio. It is difficult for the younger generation to believe, but there were not very many homes which had a radio in those days. This is written, Rena Thomas was writing this about how not very many homes had a radio, so back then it was a big deal. It made the news. Those present to listen were Mr. and Mrs. Jim Tolliver, Mr. and Mrs. Ott Tolliver and family, Will Tooley and family, Uncle Jimmy Tooley with granddaughter Grace Tooley, Bert Wagley and family, Mrs. Rosa McCraw and daughter Hope, and the Paul Irwin family. So they all had this big party. Everyone came over to listen to the radio.
How fun.
That is fun. Under the Oakland neighborhood, Will Carter and his wife and daughter visited Sunday with the Harry Halls. Also, Mrs. Harry Hall and Mrs. C.W. Stanley and daughter Floy spent Wednesday afternoon with Mrs. Jane Ditter.
Okay, real talk right now. So we're talking, neighbors are talking to neighbors, and people are visiting homes. Mm-hmm. We don't do that anymore.
Nope.
How many people do you even know your neighbors?
I know everyone on my street, and they all love me except one.
I know. I know I can name, but here's the funny thing: we've been in our house for 33 years. I can name my name. I do have some new neighbors that have just moved in because now Jim and I, when we first moved there, we were the young ones that moved in.
Yes,
now
that's how it was on our street.
Now
too.
we're getting to be the older ones on the street.
Yeah,
and I could go and be like, okay, they live here, they live here, they live here. Jim could not do that.
Oh, really?
He does not really have a clue of who our neighbors and stuff are.
Oh.
But
well,
it's funny, though, because that's what they did. Everybody went around and
sure
you went
did.
from house to house and you visited.
Yeah.
We don't do that much anymore.
Well, I always say that our street is a throwback to like 1985 because our neighborhood kids are outside together almost all summer, even through the winter. It's back and forth to each other's houses. When we moved to this street, I was 21 or 22 years old. And Jason and I were married, had been married a couple years when we bought this house, and we were the young people on our street.
Right.
All of our neighbors were older people. They were retired. There was only one neighbor who was closer to our age group, and he lived right next door, but the rest were all elderly people. And and it's sad, but as the years went by, like we saw all of them pass away. But a few are still there, but they are retired. But it's just it's sad, but it's almost like a rebirth for the neighborhood because now there are families that have children, and even some that where there are grandparents there, the grandchildren come over to visit, and it's just like there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. Everyone seems very happy, and it's people do get out and visit. I mean, even the adults, like in the evenings, will all be outside and kind of in a circle. Yeah. And we'll all just stand around and visit.
Yeah, see, I miss that because like Dale Nicholson, we were like, because like Dale Nicholson was my neighbor, and then across the street, I just went blank. But we would always, I mean, we'd literally, the three of us would be out in the front in the road talking. We'd have to like back away,
Yeah, that's what we do too.
Dale's passed away, and then the neighbor across the street, which I cannot believe his name is, I've got Eskew in my mind. Eskew's behind me. And anyway, he moved away, and they moved to where their kids are at, but then he unfortunately got cancer and passed away.
Oh, shoot.
But so I remember those, I loved that part of.
Yeah, that's the beauty of living in a small town because I get it that not all neighborhoods are like that, even in Flora, but some of them are. But I don't feel like you get that in a city.
Oh, I don't think so. There's no way.
Or even like a larger suburb, like a suburb of St. Louis or something. I don't feel like you always get that. You don't know who your neighbors are. Well, it's like, I love my neighbors. I love all of them. They are fantastic neighbors.
We actually... like back when I was growing up, I remember we had South Enders picnic.
Yeah, it used to be the paper every year.
South Enders would meet at Charlie Brown Park, and the entire south end of town would come out, and they were like huge potlucks, and we'd all play because all of us kids, we all played together. I mean, Tommy Walters, Paula Cooper, Angela Martin. Gosh, I can't myself. They were just all the Becks were down there, the Purr Singers were down
Thatchers.
there. Yeah, the Thatchers, Jack and Jay and Jackie were down there, and we all grew up. We literally grew up together. I loved that about that. Yeah. I'm thinking today, though, if the newspaper wrote an article, it'd be like, and down on Fair Street, Jim and Stacey Earlywine are screaming at each other because Jim mowed the yard and got grass clippings in Stacey's flowers. Yeah, I'm just really glad it wouldn't be like, oh, we got together and had, crumpets and, tea. It'd be like, Stacey just hit Jim over the head.
Well, first of all, your name would never be mentioned. It would be Mr. and Mrs. Jim Earlywine.
Mrs. Jim Earlywine just got into a bust-out fight.
Oh, gosh.
He told her to shut up, and she told him to get in the house and go.
Yeah. Here's a cute one. It says, in the South Clay City section of the newspaper, we find where little Hubert Mosley.
Oh, the Mosleys.
Visited after school Wednesday night with his grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Andy Hubble. So just, how often if you do have grandkids and you're watching, how often do your grandkids come and stay? And does that ever make the newspaper?
Right.
No.
I don't know.
No, not really. In the South Stanford neighborhood, Delbert Thomas and family spent Sunday with Harry Shrugham and family, and several from the neighborhood enjoyed a Halloween party at the J.A. Warren home Monday night. So, yeah, that's just a few from the Clay City paper, and some of you guys may recognize those names, and, kind of reflect back
It
on
is kind of neat, yeah.
times gone by.
Times
They
gone
are
by.
Not like that anymore.
They are not like that.
Do you have a great quote or something to
I
end
do.
this
I
show?
always have a great. I have a.
We're
It has
both
been
awesome.
one of those
Yes,
hours.
We have cracked each other up today, so I hope that you're having as much
I
fun
have a
as
great
we.
quote.
Tell
Okay,
us
this was
about
great.
it, Tweety.
No, I can't do it. Oh, goodness sakes. Okay, I like this one too. It's short. It's from Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. This is very important, people. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ponder that for just a minute.
Ooh, that's good.
Ponder that one for just a minute.
I
Yeah.
like that. You can't change
your destination overnight,
but you can change your direction.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty cool. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
neat
it's almost
quote.
like you can't reach your goal overnight, but you can change your direction toward your goal to get there.
Yeah.
Little by little.
Well, yeah, because like if you're like your destination's one thing, like where you want it, but like if it's not working for you, then you got to change your direction and go to a different destination. Maybe is what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never
that's
heard
a
of
good
Jim
one.
Rohn.
Yeah, is it Ron or Rom?
Rohn, R-O-H-N.
Rohn.
Rohn.
I don't know.
I don't know how you'd say that. Sometimes I like the quotes that are unknown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Throw another one out there. We got time for another one.
We do.
Give me two today.
Okay. Okay. Ooh. This is from Pope Paul VI.
Okay.
Now, I haven't read this yet, so I have no idea what we're getting into.
Well, since a Pope said it, it's probably clean.
Now, if I had one from Rodney Dangerfield, I might want to read it first.
Yeah.
Somebody should tell us right at the start of our lives that we are dying. Then we might live life to the limit every minute of every day. Do it, I say. Whatever you want to do it now. There are only so many tomorrows.
Okay, well, there's some truth. I mean, obviously that's true. But, like, I don't ever remember a time in my life where I didn't know that I would die eventually.
I don't know.
Like, someone should tell us right off the bat you're going to die. Did your parents not tell you that when you were a kid?
Stacey, eat the chocolate. You're going to die tomorrow.
I
I'm thinking we should do it. I think, Beth, no, this is the Pope telling us that we should buy an old house.
Oh, right.
It is.
He's speaking to us.
He is speaking to us.
And
do it.
Do it.
Jim, listen to this quote.
Uh-huh.
The Pope wants you to buy me a Victorian house.
Meanwhile, Jason's at home going, good, I'm glad he told Jim to do that. And Beth can just tag along. I don't have to actually be the one that buys it. that would be what Jason. Yeah, let Jim and Stacey buy one. You can go visit anytime you want to.
Oh, how funny.
Oh, gosh. Because Jason has absolutely no interest in owning an old
Now, my husband,
home.
but when we first we were poor. We couldn't have afforded to do it. And
Yeah,
then
we were poor,
Then you
too.
get older, and then you have money, and now we're too old. I do remember there was a house that did come out, and he actually went and looked at it with me. And Brian Pride, he took Brian Pride
right.
with him, and he was like, and I said, Jim, I've always loved this house. I would love to have this house, but it needed a lot of work, and we were in our 50s. He was in his 50s. I was still in my 40s, and he said, you know what, hon? He said, if this was 15 years ago, I'd jump on this house, but I just can't do it right now.
Yeah.
He said, I just don't want to do it right now.
Yeah.
And it's literally, and I'm not lying, it is literally the only time in now we've been together for 35 years, and it's the only time that Jim Earlywine has ever told me no and actually meant it.
But he didn't really say no.
And he didn't say
in a
no.
mean
It
way.
wasn't
It was
no.
like,
It
no,
wasn't
I just don't think I got
no.
it in me.
No,
because
it
obviously
was,
he's the one that's
yeah.
going to do the work.
It's literally the only time he's ever been. You know what, honey? I don't think that'll work. Otherwise, Jim will be like, whatever you want to do, Stace, let's do it. Then he'll say, oh my gosh, my wife makes me do this. But it's literally the only time he's ever said, you know what, Stace, I don't think so. And I went.
And you can respect that though if he has a really good reason.
Yeah, he was like, honey, I just don't think we can do it now. And I went,
and it's probably for the best because your house is spectacular.
It is spectacular.
And you have gotten it exactly how you wanted it. So
yeah, because I could have turned that house into the beach house that I wanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the only time because like I tell people, like Jim doesn't tell, he really doesn't tell me because Jim's super. I woke up today and he had my car washed this morning. No, be jealous, ladies. I have the best husband that anybody's ever got. He's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And if anybody tells him I said that, I will deny it. And that's the end of the show today.
Yeah. Don't tell Jim she said
Don't
such nice
tell Jim
things.
I said nice things. It'll ruin my reputation.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, it was a fun show. So thank you all for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
God bless you. Have a great day.